Good morning. Today I'm going to give you a tour of our makerspace here at QSI Zhuhai. And the idea of makerspace started with a corner in the library a couple years ago and has grown through two moves into what you see here today with all of the computers and various tools and supplies we have. So it's taken a couple years to grow to this size, but it is a successful makerspace now with lots of trial and error. Over here we have the 3D printer section where students can work on their 3D prints with supplies above, and we have two FlashForge 3D printers. We have a TV for displaying projects, and we have an information center with challenges on the top, so if students need a little bit of an idea of what to do to get started, you can challenge them. We have 4 all-in-one computers on one side and some 4 desktop style computers with a little bit more power for some 3D CAD design. As we move around the corner, we have our shelf of kits, and these are all labeled, and these are the go-tos for teachers that might not have an idea what to do but can just pull from any of the labeled kits here. And we have things like snap circuits and makeys and microbits and scrapbooking, jewelry making, epoxy, 3D molds, candle making, rocket bits, diorama kits, all kinds of stuff. So just anything that they can just pull from to get an idea of what to do. We do have a storage space over here, which is a really nice feature because you kind of just want to throw students extra projects in or things that are continuing on. I call that the cardboard mountain over there, so it's really nice to have extra recycled materials, extra supplies, just places of things like wood and glass. And then on the left here you have some various supplies that you might need, things like, we have a class set of iPads for the makerspace, which is nice for programming in Scratch, batteries and gloves and soldering irons, miscellaneous metal pieces. It's really important just to have a lot of different types of materials for the students to grab from, so when they have an idea they can just really go with it instead of having to get stuck with not having the materials. As we move around the corner here, we've got a nice tape station with all kinds of duct tapes and wires and just various types of tapes, art carts with stationary supplies like stickers and those kind of things, power cords. You can never have enough extension cords in the makerspace. And then I kind of tried to keep the theme of going around the corner with more of like art and tools. So it kind of goes around the corner here with some various paper types. So you have like the shrinky-dink plastic paper, the cardstock, the construction paper, the lightweight paper, and all organized for students to easily access. And then kind of moving up, you got felt and poster boards and acrylics. All these supplies you can find fairly easy at art and craft stores. A lot of them are donated, so maybe people have them laying around the room. We try to keep the dangerous stuff up top, so it's a good idea to kind of put your power tools and things like that up top, and then have things that students like a lot down low. So like wood and clay and plastic pieces and miscellaneous things, so they can quickly grab from them. I like the pegboard organizers for tools because students I feel like if they're organized, they know where they go and they put them back. We're in the process of outlining all the tools, so it helps them to stay more organized. And it's just a nice place you can constantly kind of change it around and add to it if you want to. So we have like staple guns and saws, and then in the middle, more just supplies with some electronic themes. We've got Arduino boards over here. We've got the lily pads, which are really cool, the e-textiles, so that kids can sew electronics into clothes with conductive thread, and just miscellaneous battery boxes, and then of course the famous Raspberry Pis, which are endless possibilities. So we've got the screens and a couple of those down there so kids can work on those. And then the more exclusive electronic pieces go in these organizer boxes. So they're working on getting labeled, but they have all the pieces for Raspberry Pis. And then we continue the art theme. This is probably the most used spot in the makerspace. Kids immediately go to this spot. So even if your budget's low, you can at least buy these supplies. But things like puffy balls and matchsticks and popsicle sticks and cups and feathers. Those are all readily available in all countries and really widely used. It's where the students can become creative pretty quickly, and then they can go from there, whether they want to incorporate technology or whatnot. And then we have some of the more specialized art supplies like spray paints and acrylic paints and plasticine clays for slow motion. You've got all kinds of different markers. It's important to have a lot of art supplies because Makerspace is, part of art and part of incorporating technology. So paint, and then of course the theme of keeping stuff up higher where you don't want kids using stuff like food coloring and chemicals. So that's always a good idea, especially when you have little ones in the Makerspace. As we move along down here, we do have the accessible cups with things like scissors and markers, and I really like this pegboard organizer style because you can easily restock it and kids can just see it and grab it right away. Okay, so they know, and once they get the hang of coming to the Makerspace, they know things go back where they belong. So it's kind of training them. It's a little bit of a process, and then we have some more soon-to-be more storage like glues and things like that. As we continue, we have the Lego Mindstorms robotics kits, which a lot of schools have nowadays. And we have organized the pieces, and this is a mobile cart, so kids like to use a lot of space. They can move out into hallways. And then the nice thing with having a bigger makerspace is we can have space for the preschool. So this is the 2 through 4-year-old preschool section. It's really great to have younger kids in the makerspace because then they can continue that maker mentality. So getting them in there young is really important. And so we've got all kinds of things on this shelf like builder blocks and kids connects and screws and just things that little kids learn how to become more able to put things together. So that's the preschool area, and we have tables that go along with it. So you want to have tables for them to sit at. And then we have a sewing section. So we are really fortunate to have 2 brother sewing machines, and the kids can come up with any ideas they want. And above is hand sewing kits. So if you don't have money or a budget for those, you can just go to hand sewing, and they can still get the idea. And then of course fabrics. As we move on, probably the most popular area in our makerspace is the green screen or media creation area. This is also fairly affordable to get set up. It's mostly just a green sheet, and we have like a tripod set up for pictures and with lights and a podium and a tablet tripod. So kids can come in here and create all their presentations and do it fairly efficiently. So very popular area. This is a new spot over here in the corner. This is called the Breaker Space, and this is a neat idea to get kids thinking about kind of the design process and science inquiry, where kids just take apart items that people have brought in, so like microwaves and old toys, and then they can recreate toys or just see the steps of taking them apart, what's in them. So this is kind of a cool spot where kids can just go and there's pre-made lessons on the table. All right, so breaker spaces are very easy to set up and affordable. So that was our whole makerspace very quickly, but I'm just going to give you a quick layout pano here so you guys can all see kind of how we've structured ours. And I know everybody wants to do theirs differently or has different ideas.